When we dropped, however, we're back up for now.
We're back.
Just
Okay.
Well, the Arcana rolls are up on Twitch, so
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
it
Sorry.
must
So
have been
then
just
we
recently.
must have only just dropped. All right. Okay, cool. So in that case, then, diving back in, Irina, yes, you recall that these entities were more shadowy than black, and you recall a bit of information about shadow dragons, in that they can be any dragon, or at least they were any dragon. They were physically warped by years spent in the Shadowfell, and they have a dark and translucent sort of scale appearance to them, which helps them camouflage in the darkness around them. They're often mistaken for black dragons, but their horns actually warp slightly, and they can go towards like the back of their heads. And they have the kind of long fringe of spines that emerge from their neck, and they have this kind of tail feature that looks almost like a swimming fin. But aside from that, you have no idea why shadow dragons would be inside the capital city. That part you'll have to kind of work with Llewellyn to figure out.
Did you tell me all this?
Yeah, she's probably trying to sort of remember as much as she can, and it's sort of, you know, she
Is it?
their appearance is more like, and I'm gonna just make Candlewick come up as like smoke and make him like see if he'll form like a dragon,
Yeah, absolutely. That's
and just be like
perfect.
that, but more solid underneath. They looked very real, very physical, but not.
Did the capital city have any resemblance to the Shadowfell? Was it warped in that sort of way?
I've never been to the Shadowfell. How would I know?
Candlewick manifests into this image down here, which you can click from the chat and maximize on your screen.
Yeah.
And it seems as though Candlewick remembers better than you, Irina, because as the features fill out, you're starting to remember yourself. It's like Candlewick had a photographic memory of it.
Candlewick is from the Shadowfell, of course he remembers.
Exactly.
Because what if the gold dragons turned into that? If you said that dragons can turn into shadow dragons.
It's a possibility, but as I said, the only way I can think to figure all this out is to backtrack. Go back to where I started the journey with Malone and what she figured out. Because I don't know where she went. All I know is she's gone somewhere and tried to fix things.
Have you heard of Baba Yaga?
Have I heard of Baba Yaga?
Have you? Roll an Arcana check.
Have I?
Let's find out if you have.
What am I rolling?
Or history or Arcana.
Well, it's both the same roll anyway, so what?
Let's go with more history then.
18.
Okay, Arcana. Arcana,
It would have been the same roll anyway.
You've heard of rumors, which are basically that she is a powerful entity, lives deep within the woods. You don't know much about her her hut or anything like that, but you know that she's been known to be helpful in some stories and a villain in others.
But, just had a thought, if Malone is Tarig's student, technically wouldn't I know that Tarig built the hut?
I don't think Terry built the hut. I think he
Or helped to build the hut?
He is the architect.
Yeah, from the Tesseract inside.
So I may have known of her
Yeah.
from that?
Well, Tarek didn't openly advertise that he built Baba Yaga's dancing hut.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, I knew Malone, so Malone might have mentioned something.
Malone mentioned that Tarek had been an outcast, that his persistence into forbidden magics meant that he kind of was pushed out of the Grand Library and the Wizard Tower of the capital city. He went and made his own tower, effectively, is what the rumors are. He was looking into time magic, and the wizards don't really usually want to mess with that. Messing with time has all kinds of repercussions.
But Malone has potentially gone back in time, and
To find her.
from what we've figured out so far.
Yeah.
So he's currently post Malone.
Okay, shut up.
I'm just gonna point out she, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, she. My apologies.
So, when I was last in the capital,
Prior Malone.
But no, I would say you do not know that Turing.
seemingly around about the time of this catastrophe was to happen, Baba Yaga and her hut was in the capital at the same time as the gold dragons. And she was like an archfey of corruption.
When was this?
It was about 10 years ago.
So it would have happened before I left, or just after? Before or after I was sent to go find Malone?
If you know the date now, and the date is, it was before you arrived in capital.
No, I know that, but what I mean is, like, obviously, was I still in the capital? Was this before I was sent to find Malone?
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, you left Capital City, and then this happened.
Yeah. Because this was, I left once they'd made the prediction. Okay, cool. Yeah, got it.
You kind of dodged a bullet.
Yeah. They were basically like, this big calamity is coming. You need to go to here, get this person, and bring them back to check things out. But obviously, in the meantime, when I was gone, the calamity occurred.
Yep.
So you left the capital and I appeared there, and then I left, and sometime later you came back. But in that time, the calamity happened.
So in the time that I left, you arrived and calamity struck. It's all your fault.
This is
Well,
all
no.
just wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
I was there to warn them of one of Bahamut's gold dragons being corrupted by Baba Yaga and was on its way to storm the capital. And I did warn them. Other gold dragons turned up, and then I was shooed through a portal and ended up in the Feywild. And then I came out of the Feywild, and 10 years have gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. Briseis turns around her notepad and says, "Yep, got it all." And she's chronologically placed everything as you said it as well.
That's fine. She doesn't have everything.
But yeah, my friend and my father was in there.
Everybody I knew was in there. Well, aside from Malone, obviously, and potentially my parents, but I don't know where they are, so who knows?
To be fair, we may have saved a lot of people when we arrived, because when we started getting a town squire to... Is it a squire? The people of the bell? Criers?
Town crier,
To,
yeah.
to scream about a dragon attack imminent, I assume some of the people fled. So...
I wouldn't know. I would hope so,
Yeah.
but I can't imagine if your dad escaped that he'd sit there twiddling his thumbs.
No, he stayed behind. He said he had to protect the capital.
Of course he did. Stubborn old man.
And so did my friend Estelia.
I don't know that name.
Riley says, "Wait, your father is Irina's what?"
I never said that.
You
So-
said that your father.
Alright, he is the boss of me, but that's not the point here.
So I guess if you think about it, if the mantle is passed down, I'm your boss now.
Screw you.
And he's even wearing your men's cape as well.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a good kick between the legs, then you tell me who's the boss of who.
Ooh.
I back up and I go back to my conversation.
Cinnamon mango?
Yeah, I'll eat some mango and go back to speaking to Dassley through message.
Okay.
But
Wow.
yes, Llewellyn's dad is technically my boss.
Hmm.
He kind of broke me out of jail, so I kind of owe him.
What did you do?
I blew up a library. Library.
Did Danny says like, that sounds like fun?
It's
I'm
not.
like,
I wouldn't recommend it.
"Oh,
Look, it was an accident. I made a deal with Candlewick, and the power surge got out of hand.
hmm. Well, it's like you were saying earlier. We learn from our mistakes.
Hmm.
I only hope that Erikos doesn't beat himself up too much about how he handled the ship and trying to save those sailors' lives.
I'm gonna gesture to Llewellyn to keep eyes on Zaza, and then I'm gonna go find Erikos.
Okay, yeah, he's still in the map room with Narrowly.
I'm just gonna sort of gesture to Narrowly, see if she'll leave without me prodding too much.
Narrowly says, I'll give you the room.
Just give her a nod and then come and park myself on the table. Not on a chair, on the table.
I was using that.
Yeah, I know. Look, I'm sorry. Okay. I don't like authority. It's nothing personal. Look, I like you. You're a good dad, but you know, yeah, you gotta let your kids have lives.
My family has always come first.
I get that. I
My
get that.
family is everything to me.
Hmm.
But when something threatened to come between, it felt like an attack.
Yeah, but like the only thing making things threatening is you not wanting to let go. If you just they'll come back. It's not like they're abandoning you. They just want to like start their own lives.
He kind of pauses and thinks.
You know, I'd have given anything to have a normal family, to have okay, my parents raised me until I was about 10, and then it was deemed too unsafe to stay a family unit. So me and my sister were divided and put in safe places and given new names, and we've not seen our parents since. You know, that sucks. You've got a family that wants to be together, but getting overprotective is going to just push them away, and you will lose them that way. That's all I'm saying.
I'm all for them going out and making their own livelihood. But pirates is a bit of an extreme, wouldn't you say?
Not really. There are worse things. Some of the best people I know are pirates.
See, that doesn't help your case. But still.
Again, I have a problem with authority, and I happily admit that. My point is, you can either be aggressive and she'll be part of pirates that, you know, are terrible, terrible people, or you can cut her some slack, go with this ambassadorship, and maybe make this port a better place for it.
Those pirates also have my gold, don't forget. Well-earned gold, hard-earned gold, supposed to put food on this family's table. Don't make out that they're a good influence for my daughter.
I never said they were. I'm just saying, like, she could potentially bring out the best in them. Carius is a pretty good persuasive person. He could help to turn it around.
Potentially. But Carius
You don't give him enough credit. He's more like you than you think.
how so?
In many ways. He's hardworking, cares about his family. He just wants to do you proud. Like you want to make your family proud. He came back the minute he heard you were in trouble. He dropped everything he was doing.
He sort of has a kind of eye-opening moment realizing this.
Again, we all make mistakes when we're young.
And he came back as well.
Of course he did.
He seems to be drawing more comparisons to like Saza. If he lets Saza go off, he's kind of finding a way to have faith that she will also return and be better off for it.
You raised them good, and they care. They know family is important, so they will always come back.
Well, I don't think Saza had an intention to, unless
That's because she's probably afraid of letting you down. Girl's got to follow her heart. Let's face it. You can't stop that from happening.
very well. What we need now then is a unity.
Absolutely.
But I fear that these dragons, they're a force that not even us coming together can defeat. He
No, we don't need to defeat them.
seems to be stressed about it, and he kind of slumps back into his chair and tosses the navigation stencil to the table. Then we're going to have to bargain with them, like I did all that time ago.
Sure.
But it's going to keep chasing us. We'll forever be in their clutch.
Not necessarily. There are ways around these things. We just need to find the right angle. And we can't do that unless we speak with them first.
I also can't pay them off if pirates keep stealing my gold.
Which is why we're negotiating with the pirates.
You sound like you got this all figured out. I
Nope.
hope that you... Wait, what? So you're just flying by the seat of your...
No. I have a plan. It doesn't mean I've got it all figured out. Things happen, but I'm confident.
Then
As long as Lavella keeps his mouth shut.
please, hurry back with Carius, so that we can put this into action. This plan of yours.
Sure.
We haven't got time to be worrying about all this other baggage. He says, can you also... never mind, actually. Just
What?
bring back Carius.
No. Tell me.
no, no, it's too personal. Don't worry about it.
Ah, you big party pooper. All right, I'll get off the table. And then I'll go and collect Llewellyn and Zaza and what's his face.
All right. Okay. You gather up the team, and Saz says, "Oh, is it time to go already?" She's took like a
Yep.
mouthful of cinnamon.
Gather your baggage, kiddo. We're going.
What about my messages?
Well, it's been a pleasure to meet your family, Saza, and you see Yazza taking a bow, and Danny's been like annoying Yazza this whole time, probably like why is your why are you wearing that, or why is your hair like that? And Yazza's just sort of like because it's cool looking, obviously. The Danny kind of gives him a look. Doesn't look
It's
cool.
really not.
Saza, you have a weird taste. And Saza just says, you'll understand when you get older, Danny. Anyway, all right. If we gotta go, we've gotta go.
Yep.
Llewellyn, you able to fly us back? Cool. Oh wait, you wasted those polymorph spells turning my boyfriend into a worm.
Only one.
It's fine. We'll take the boat again. We have the glaive.
Good.
And we have the ballista, Cerelia says. Now that the way is safe,
You're staying here.
I can... What? Why? What? You told me to stay here last time because it was dangerous, but now you're saying that they're allies. It makes perfect...
Ericus, your son wants to come to the pirate cave.
He turns his head around the corner and says, well, I've had a change of heart.
No, he's not coming.
Oh,
I
no.
think you should all go be free. I've been overprotective, Aurelius.
Oh my god.
He's 11. He's
Let's-
not an adult. He's the one you should be watching.
Follow your heart, Aurelius. He said- I'm only using your logic against you.
For adults, he's 11. That's just irresponsible parenting. Jeez,
He's
man.
capable of. He may be 11, but damn, he's good.
And this is why he's big-headed.
Thanks, Dad. I knew you could trust in me. All right. Get on, everyone. Actually, you can only carry me. Never mind then. I'll stay here. Oh, well. Maybe I'll tag along.
No,
Just let the boy come with us.
no.
Where's my ballista?
I spent my time discussing with Dasily about how we're going to win the winnings to give tribute to the dragons
Mm-hmm.
for an audience, and seeing if she would like to go to a picnic tomorrow in between time.
A picnic?
Yes.
During a dragon attack?
No, in between. Beforehand.
Okay. All right. Just before everyone dies, we'll have a picnic. Okay.
Better
Yeah.
to do it while we're alive.
All right. Right. Yeah. We'll just, you know what? We'll expedite this and just say, give me one persuasion check.
And fail.
Yeah.
12 isn't bad. That's
She says, that's a very nice offer, Llewellyn. You are a kind-hearted soul, I can tell. But I think perhaps we need to work on
the dragon.
saving our home and our family before niceties. I know that it's still... I know we was having cinnamon apple here, but cinnamon mango, but that was before we had the news about the dragons. I'm sure my dad has tons of work for me to do. If I find time, then a picnic sounds lovely. But right now, more important matters, I'm afraid.
That's cool. Rain check.
Rain check. Exactly. She gives you a smile.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Rain check. Dragon check.
Dragon check.
Dragon check.
All right, we're gonna get you guys back over here. Whoop. All right. So you travel back. Hours melt away as you go back to the hideout. Valuable hours. All right.
Hilarious.
That's you guys on the boat. You're back. Um,
Welcome back, everyone. How'd it go with Dad, Sazza?
Oh, me and Andy
Oh,
probably.
you're talking to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's still pissed at me. I can tell, but
Join the
He's-
club. We've got t-shirts.
oh, excellent. Then, yeah.
He's coming around. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Slowly. But he doesn't like the idea of working with the other guys. But we really had to twist his arm, both me and Irina.
You just ate a bunch of mango.
Team effort.
Well, to be honest, in that sort of situation, I trust Irina talking to him rather than you, Sazza. No offense.
You had mango? I love mango.
Oh, I brought you some. Yes, it says.
Oh, sweet.
He said, "Hey, did you steal that from the under the table?"
Hold on. Yazid says that.
Yeah.
Oh, he says that from behind me. I'm probably like, oh, it's just you.
Punching him
Oh,
again.
thank you.
I feel like I somewhat helped with the discussions there.
Two
I
for
made a-
flinching.
Good few points.
But yeah, I'm a pirate. What can I say? And these were damn delicious. They were like treasures of themselves. Your
Oh.
sister really knows how to cook.
Oh yeah, what did
I think you'll find Andy made those.
Oh my god, these are amazing. Thank you.
what did Sorrow write down in terms of all the stuff that he copied from Ericos? I'll just hand it to Carius. Read.
Okay. All right. So.
Oh no, is it the entire transcript?
Pretty much. It's basically a play right now.
Oops.
You could, but it'd be easier if you just went there yourself. So, ooh boy.
Well, the good news is we come to a semi-arrangement.
So there are a number of names on this list of things. But I'll get to those in a bit. Just keep going.
As I said, your dad's coming around, but his main concern is the dragons right now. And it's kind of a priority, I think, for all of us.
That it is.
Okay.
Right.
All right, make the trade.
Yeah. So, Sazza, you're staying here, obviously, as the point of contact. You're technically being held for ransom until I secure a better deal for these guys. Them being pirates.
That's just
But-
really stupid.
Yeah, I know, but
You know the dad has
really...
his family's kind of approved of her being here. Why would they want to
Yeah, you do realise with Sazza here, you're not going to get any payment. I mean, you weren't going to get any payment for having me here. I'm the outcast of the family. But you wouldn't get much.
No, she's hostage.
No, she's here of her own free will, and the family knows it. I'm sorry, but your plan is really dumb. You're not getting any ransom for her.
Sazza goes over to the bar and starts drinking. Yeah. Well, not if she starts going without food and rations.
You wouldn't do that though.
I don't think your crew is going to go through with that. I mean, that your friend here is actually serving her a drink right now.
She's one of the crew. Let's face it. She's one of your own.
She's still a bargaining chip.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Hold on. You're not the Damsel family. You can't speak. She's our hostage until you have offered the work. She's our hostage until you've given us more profitable work that pays off the debt of the hostage situation.
Yes.
How does
Let's
that
just
sound with you,
go
Saza?
with that.
Well, that's good.
Sweet.
Yep. Yep.
Whatever.
It sounds like we
Right.
have a deal here.
Oh, and I really want to. Nah. Right. So
You get the impression these pirates are pretty dumb.
yeah, I just
They
sort
have
of,
not figured it out themselves.
yeah. Okay, so we've sort of come to that arrangement. Saza, since you've been around here more recently than I have, has Dad devised any way to deal with Sahuagin yet?
No, he said the more pressing matter is the dragons, and then we only have like 2 weeks apparently.
So the big question is, how do we get that much money that's going to entice the dragon to let us talk to them in under 2 weeks?
I still
Wait,
think
yeah.
that it's got to be something that's going to be enticing rather than just a lot of wealth. Did we
Well,
actually... Sorry.
That's kind of the thing with that. If we can get the gold, we can buy something. From what Dad was saying and what we read, it seems they're most interested in gems, and I think people of some sort of value to them.
People?
He also said you shouldn't go off on assumption, and that you should meet with the dragons, preferably within the next 1 to 2 days.
And we just ask them what they like.
Didn't we hear that there's loads of gold here?
Right. So, as part of that, Kashan,
Yes?
I think we should give over our place in the race so that Zerilius can enter whilst we go and speak to the dragons.
But I did so well!
Yes, but we also didn't take part in the full race, and he has been working towards, and he has sort of earned it. And I did sort of make him lose.
Isn't that the whole point of opponents? To make
No.
other people lose?
Yeah, but he would have come. He would have
won.
qualified if I hadn't have just gone nope and
But what
teleported
about
back.
my glory
Is-
and my
is it-
winnings? I was going to buy us a
Well-
new ship. Another
Why
one.
would we-
What? Why do we need a new ship? We've already got one.
But we could have two.
We can barely control the first one.
Hey! I take offense.
The offense was intended.
Again, I feel like you wouldn't be much of an opponent if you didn't make him lose.
Fine.
Yes, but well,
fine.
I would have beat him regardless. But then he would have come third, but I made him come fifth.
And who's
But he
fault
has
is
to
that?
win. Because he
Yes,
was very
that-
mean to both of us.
Exactly. So, yeah, he's got to win, and if he doesn't win, I'm going to make him promise that he's not allowed to race anymore.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And also, he's not allowed to be mean to either of us.
Well, I'll make it so he's not mean to you. If he's not mean to me, his head will probably explode.
This is a good point.
It's
Sibling
already
rivalry.
pretty swollen.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I honestly think like part of his ego has actually gone into his horns now. It's
I'm just surprised it started so young. How can somebody so young have such an ego?
well, um, I can explain that a little. You
Takes a
see, as the only son of the family, for a while I could do no wrong. Then my brother came along,
Oh,
and as
this
soon
makes
as
sense. Okay.
and as soon as he could start speaking his first words, saying his first prayers, casting his first spells, he was always,
baby.
for his age, leaps and bounds above where I was then. And as he got older, he was also much more obedient and much more
His
like
first
perfect
words.
son.
Talking completely, mate.
Oh. So as your younger brother became loved, you became more of an asshole.
Well, no, it's more as my younger brother became more loved, it became more obvious that I wasn't the perfect son my father saw me as, and I just pissed him off by accident more and more often just by being me.
And you know that we know he made a big mistake.
Exactly. Because now my brother's got such a big ego that he wants to even beat me at doing stuff that would annoy my dad, which is a really weird way to go about it. Like,
It's not exactly the smartest option.
no.
But anyway, so what's the plan? What do we do from here?
Well,
Straight to the
we're off to.
dragons?
Yeah, basically that's the plan. We're gonna head back. I want to speak to my dad at least once, partially to get the route, but also he said he managed to beat one, even if it was a young one, being able to beat any form of dragon, particularly when we're storm sorcerers mostly and tempest clerics, and so our most of our magic is lightning, and from what I understand, they're immune to lightning. So how he beat them,
Did he do it alone?
from what I understand, yeah.
He's, I mean, I've taken out
And
a
he just
dragon
drove it off.
with a whole party of people.
Yes,
Sorry, I had
but
to get
you had a
another
whole
drink.
party, and
And-
was that a dragon that was immune to your primary attacks?
And that was a wormling.
Shh, I'm not telling them that.
Well, I just want to say we shouldn't really be thinking about how to defeat them.
No,
After all, we're just
but
going to
it's
meet
not so
them.
much.
Sorry.
Yes, but it
Just
would
getting
be
a drink
good
from the
to
bar.
know a way to defend ourselves
thank you.
should it come to that. Plus, I feel like my dad at least has a few tricks up his sleeve, and
But I
this
think
seems a
for
perfect time to learn them.
for the safety of everyone, though, I think we should probably be learning things that would be able to get us away, rather than what deals damage to a storm dragon. Because, quite frankly, I just can't like look round to the pirates. It's like I'm
What?
a little scared.
And it's very likely that there's more than just one.
Well, it's an
So-
entire I think the collective term is a storm of dragons, so
Yeah,
Well,
but
It is.
the thing is that like
Or blue dragons, anyway.
if we're just going to negotiate and talk, only a couple of people need to go in at once. And it's a case of we obviously getting in here, we know there are ways to do that. But if it makes you feel better to have a backup plan of escape, then maybe we should check out Carius's dad's layouts. And we can plan an escape, or at least a hiding place, if things go sour.
It would be a good idea, at least, to have
Yeah.
some form of backup plan and
yeah.
yeah.
I look over at Andy. Andy, going a little
Huh?
bit off topic.
She's
here,
she's not even paying attention. She's been staring at this picture all this time.
but you're looking for someone, right?
Kind of. I
Well,
think.
your best bet is probably to talk to Brizze. If anyone's heard anything, it's probably her, and if she hasn't, she'll look into it. She kind of can't resist a mystery. Honestly, should have been named like she should have been a warlock. Then I could have called her Sherlock.
You know, Jesus. You know, as like the worst case scenario, we probably could teleport back to Wheat, but that's like the worst case scenario. Like in the moment, we're all gonna die, sort of thing.
Yeah,
We're
but
just going to talk to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah.
Where exactly are these dragons being held up?
They're in the Mirage Mountains. I think that's what they were called, right, Chris?
Yeah, they don't actually dwell in the mountains. They are sort of more in the canyon around it,
Yeah,
I
which
mean,
is surrounded by desert.
yeah.
perhaps. Oh,
Yeah.
They,
So they're
they
in,
have been known to patrol the mountains, like it is their
Yeah.
territory. So yeah.
yeah. So their territory is the mountains, but they're actual, from what I understand, they base themselves in the canyon near it and sort of the desert around it because
Yeah.
Blue
Well,
Dragons plus desert equals fun times.
They claim that the whole desert is their territory, and it seems as though there are some details on this thing that Sora's been detailing it, but it's probably better to just hear it from your father.
Yeah. Right.
Well, then perhaps we could talk to your father and see exactly what we need to do, what we need to discuss. And
exactly.
then maybe we could take a trip north to Gaidea.
Well, certainly an option, but I feel like we need to head to the dragons first and then have the negotiation, and based on that
Yeah.
negotiation, choose where we want to go.
Exactly.
Because if we if we go to Gadia and we find and we get held up there by, I don't know, maybe it's been a while since I've been here. Maybe I pissed someone off last time I was here and they want my head. I would not be surprised. Or Irina, did you blow up anything when you were last here in Gadia?
No, but I could get us in. It's
Well, that's always a positive, but if we get held up there, then that's going to cause problems. And then if we find the dragons don't want anything from there, it's pointless. So
I was actually thinking if we had any allies up there out of you two. However, I see that I've got the misfits.
but like I need to go to Gadia anyway. I need to speak with either the Sultan or the Vizier.
I raise an eyebrow. I'm like, you have enough connections to speak to the Sultan?
Well, Malone did. And technically she was my mentor, so yes.
You didn't speak with the Sultan, of course, though. You know.
No, I spoke with the Vizier. She spoke with the Sultan, which is why I need to see the Sultan.
Right.
I
Right.
don't suppose
I wasn't high enough ranking mage to speak to the Sultan directly, but I could speak to the Vizier and see if the Sultan may grant me an audience.
From what I know, very few people get to speak to the Sultan.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick question just before we continue, but I don't suppose there are any dwarfs in Gaidea. Random question.
Would any of us know that?
It seems like an odd thing.
Not really.
Also, right.
That is a really oddly specific question, Kashan, and
It was more the
not
fact
that I'm
of
aware
this
there might be
cave.
a couple.
It was more the fact of this cave that I was looking for is jumping all over the place, so maybe it reaches this far west. But if not, never mind. It's all good.
No,
Maybe we could kill like 5 dragons with 1 stone.
You're probably looking at speaking to the dwarves of like
It's
Eldredor and
it's going to be to the far east, but I was just thinking if
but it was a worthwhile point to bring up. But to be honest, it's not. Is it specifically dwarves you need? They're not the only people involved in cave work.
Yes, I'm sorry. That was very racist of me.
In fact, I just sort of turn around to one of the pirates who looks like a dwarf on their token. I mean, there's a dwarf here.
Yeah, not all of us dig holes all day. In fact, I quite like the open ocean. So,
My
There you
sister's
go.
a bounty hunter. She's a dwarf.
And
See,
does she like digging holes?
No.
though,
Does
if
she
you
like
want,
digging holes in enemies?
Yes.
It counts.
if you want, if you want to ask about underground places, I mean, these guys have drow about. They're probably the most associated with underground, even more so than like the dwarves.
I think it's more cave work. It's a crystalline cave. It's okay. It's going to be a question for a later time. Ignore me. It's fine.
That's fair.
Uh,
That is
sorry.
fair.
my
Is
dad said to get back as soon as possible. By the way, he's
Yeah,
gonna get
Oh, of
impatient,
course, of course.
Okay. On,
and I
on
don't want him to be in a badder mood than he already is. So,
I'll have
He's
this,
not in a bad mood anymore.
I'll have this conversation with Carius on the way back then.
okay.
I'm just gonna lean over Andy's shoulder because she's like distracted by the.
Is there any
Just-
Go on. Sorry.
She kind of startles and kind of tries to hide it at first, but when she sees it's Irina, she shows her.
Irina, how do you?
Like I can read this poster. I can see the resemblance, and
Yeah.
like I'm just kind of like stole from this. What did she do?
I don't know, but I'm scared to go to the capital now.
Don't worry, I won't let anything happen.
What if they think I'm her?
You're far too young.
But she looks like me.
Yeah, but that was like how long ago? Is there a date on this poster? How old is this poster?
There is no date on it, no. But it does look very old. You could try to date it, being a librarian.
Sure.
Okay, roll me investigation.
Investigation.
Yes. Oh. Okay.
Right.
It looks to be about 18, 19 years old.
I don't think you have to worry. Like if this piece of paper is as old as I think, then you're far too young to be the woman in this picture.
Well, I know that, but I mean, the orc who showed it to me, and she kind of like points and waves at him over in the distance.
Hello.
he's really nice.
He said hello.
He said there was a rumor, which is a little bit suspicious because apparently she was seen walking out of the Sultan's palace with a trunk.
Not necessarily out of the palace, but she
But,
was
yeah,
getting on aboard like a ship.
getting on board a
Um,
ship with a trunk.
Yeah.
Okay, so she stole. Look, if I need to go see the Sultan or the Vizier anyway, I can ask. I can probe. You don't need to come with, but I can ask for you.
Okay.
You might not like what comes out of the conversation, though, just to warn you. But I'll ask.
Either way, I'm just.
She's very pretty.
Thank you. Do you think I could do my head like that? She's like fiddling with her hair, just like.
We can look at it later.
Yeah.
And it's a
Right.
wanted poster, so it's probably like.
I just can't
Like a
get my
monkey.
hair right.
So, Parius,
Mhm.
you're somewhat cleric, right? Clerical in the
yeah.
way you- but not
Yeah.
too far along, right?
No, if I was gonna rate myself out of 10, I'd be a 1.
Is there anyone in your family that is somewhat more clerical?
In terms of like religious worship or spell casting.
Spellcast.
I
Obo?
mean, I mean, my dad's probably the most in terms of spell casting, though he's probably a bit more like me, but I imagine he's got a bit more on the clerical side.
Have you
Um,
ever seen him send messages from afar?
About the
Have
sending
I?
spell. No, he travels.
No, he tends to prefer to travel. He likes face-to-face conversations. Despite the fact that obviously the males are like the sorcerers and the weather workers, and I realize like the females are like the merchants and stuff, but would any of them be like cleric in terms of magic? Because Mum at least seems to have that sort of vibe, and
Yeah.
maybe
She does. She knows the religion in and out, and she has taken a much more clerical vibe recently, though she is no levels in cleric, nor does she have
yeah,
the. She knows like the rituals, and she knows what is happening to this weird storm. She seems to be having a vision which seems divine in nature, but she herself does not possess divine power.
yeah.
I was just thinking because I could find out how far along Castellius is
And-
to finding this island that the Blue Dragons would be interested in taking over, but it seems like I was wondering if any of them would be able to get a message across
They
to
don't.
him.
They don't.
But
No, I don't think they'd be able to, but
No.
there might be someone you can hire in town, maybe.
Yes. And Lahiri, by the way, Lahiri has all the hallmarks of a cleric and the virtues of one.
I was gonna point out that Lahiri, obviously picking those flowers and
Yeah, she seems the next
She understands.
clerical.
She understands the ritualistic process, the organizing of reagents and stuff. If she wanted to, she could probably start taking levels in cleric. But she's too shy. She's like, oh no, I don't want to be using divine powers. That sounds like a responsibility.
Yeah.
She would need the self-confidence in order to be channeled as a conduit for Riley.
Yeah, there's also the option if we go to Gadia. I'm almost certain you can find someone there.
yeah, it was just worth a shot.
Gadia is nothing like Weep. There is 100% magic users in Gadia.
Yeah,
all kinds.
you might even be able to get some spell components whilst you're there if you need any.
Yep.
Diamonds.
Okay, so
diamonds definitely.
Well, funny
one
enough,
of the reasons I want to go there.
that was something that we ended on last session. Was the advertisement for Chad's Casinos has Chad sort of lounging back on a what's it called? It's like a chase lounge, and he's got diamonds in his hands, and yes.
I didn't see this poster, right? Did I?
You probably may have seen it when you came back because it was pointed out. We'll say
it was Kashan and Andy that saw it.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, that bastard. Oh.
Yeah, it would have been pointed out at the very least.
I prefer Dream Chad over real life Chad any day.
Dream.
The charity.
Okay. Oh yes. I thought you meant like the Chad of my dreams. Anyway,
that's more Elias.
No, to be honest, the Chad of his dreams is Hystelia.
Oh god.
Hystelia who kicked ass.
Yes, with the little help from the playing fate.
The DM.
All right. For the sake of brevity, we'll. Did you just say what I thought you said? No, never mind. Okay, we're gonna get you back to the Damser estate. So, everyone has reconvened, and there you are. Yeah. You can drag your tokens on if you need to.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Otherwise, your Erikos leads you into the map room and says, "Right, time to enact a plan." No, Andy, gone too far.
It's because I was moving her and you decided to move her at the same time.
too slow. Aurelius, get in here. You're part of this plan as well.
Really? Why?
Really?
I mean, welcome.
Well, yeah, he is part of the plan. He's gonna be earning
The
us-
bait for the dragon.
I was just about to say, dragon. Wow.
Not using my son as any more danger. This is because he's able to swiftly move, and he also has powers much to the same as Carius's level.
Nah, he's gonna be
I
big
glare.
in-
I glare slightly at that.
So we'll need the wisdom of Riley, the intuition of Brasilis.
Yeah.
Uh,
Zarilius is gonna be busy doing us a separate favor while we speak to the dragon.
my eldest, of course.
All right, now this room's just getting too crowded.
Sudani for emotional support. Natalie for morale.
Can't
Clearly a
we
family
just-
affair. I'm gonna go here.
Can't
we do
with
this?
him as well?
If
In
you-
the table.
Bye.
Should we take the map out to the dining table if you want everyone here?
That's
Yeah,
a better
that's-
idea.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I like family togetherness, this is a bit too much.
Oh, I'm just messing with you. Alright, okay, so. Damsey is a symbol. And what did you say your group's name was? Larry?
The Keyasters.
Yeah! Kashan does like a freeze frame jump.
Wait, how are you frozen in the air?
I don't
I
know
cast,
how.
I cast haste on him and then dropped it immediately. That's why.
He got stunned in the air.
With your passive insight, you can tell your father is judging all of you.
I use slow fall
d-
as well.
Don't worry.
I'm sorry, but your daughter's just joined a gang called the Rusty Scimitars. Ours is hardly the worst name.
Think of it as this: we're a Keyasta for our enemies.
I'm
Have
not
you
gonna
ever heard the tale of Kashan?
Let's not get into this. We have
He-
important business. Alright.
Yeah.
He shouts Kia a lot when he attacks enemies.
The map's a little bit bigger than I remember.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose technically Kashan's either our leader or our mascot. I haven't quite decided. yet.
Mascot, definitely mascot.
Right.
I thought that
So-
mascot was Snurg, but anyway.
No, that was the last party.
Order! Hits a gavel on the
Oh,
table.
sorry.
Yeah. Wait, where'd you get the hammer from?
Shit, that was the telescope. Well, that's 2,000 gold down the drain. We're going to need to raise a lot of money. But first,
Yeah.
we need to know that these dragons want gold. As far as I'm aware, dragons hoard tons of different things, gems, treasures, and they all have their own little taste. You know, their own like favorites. Ghastly's like, oh, it's like their own, favorite recipes. Precisely. You want to use a food analogy because it's quite literally sustenance to them sometimes. So I've heard anyway.
Yeah.
They don't just hoard it; they literally eat the stuff. From what I remember, back in the day, when I fought Tilrog of the Fulmination, this rebellious little upstart said that he was going to cry home to his mother and have him enact revenge. Well, didn't come to that. We would have been wiped out if that was the case. I had to negotiate with them before. It's how we've set up our own little home here. It's why we're allowed to work here in this desert, in their terrain. I spoke with Lemekra, Baroness of the Sand. And her husband, I guess? I doubt dragons enter into
Her
Married.
partner is probably a better word.
partner, yes. Her other significant other. She looks up at the papers and seems to try and read it carefully. Bramoroth, the primeval. These are the two most powerful in the Storm of Dragons. I believe they are far older than any of the others. However, it was not they that I came to terms with, but Xionos, the Transonic. He was the one who saw reason. He saw an opportunity. He's wise, but perhaps not as old as the other two. They are,
Bless you.
Thank you.
so funnily enough, it was he that I kind of feared most. For I do not know what he was plotting or planning, but I did not have grounds for which to bargain. I was at their whim. It was thankful he was there, though, for he convinced the two older to actually go along with it. And in payment for my, in payment of thousands of gold, we were able to live out our lives here. Now, it seems their patience has grown thin, and they now wish to take back their territory. But I believe they may be swayed again. Dragons just can't say no when it comes to gold and treasures.
Yes, that is what I have heard as well, but
But if there is something else, another agenda, then we need to know before we go gathering a load of gold just to have it, well, just to have ourselves wiped out anyway.
Which is why you think we should go see them before we make any other decisions.
Yes, and maybe it'll buy us time. Though, he turns to his wife. Riley speaks up and says, though we believe this storm that's coming, the opportunity is far too good to not take up. If they wish to attack us, they will do it decisively when this storm comes. They will need a very good, convincing reason to not use that against us.
Yes.
I imagine little Tilrog's all grown up as well by now.
How? I know this might be a bit off
He
topic.
will-
But how did
sorry.
you beat him?
He smiles. I honed my magic. How else could I defeat a blue dragon with lightning?
Yes, but I've trained my magic quite a bit, but there are still creatures it doesn't quite affect as much as that, and I would imagine a blue dragon's hide is even more resistant. I don't see how it's possible.
There is a vigorous training routine. Not just that, but I found a teacher within the deserts. Of sorts, anyway.
Is this something that you could teach me in case we need it for some reason? If it comes to blows, which I really hope it doesn't.
Irena's just gonna look at Ericos and just be like, bonding.
Good. He
She's
says,
literally behind Carius going,
he says, you know what? I think, and Zerilia suddenly interrupts and says, well, I could teach you.
Shut up.
I've already mastered it.
I just sort of look at him and then look back at Ericos and I'm just like,
True.
why doesn't that surprise me? But
It took him only 3 years to master it.
well, I've got less than a month, so maybe I can break that record.
Zerilia says, well, then it's impossible then.
Maybe for you, little brother, but I've got experience in the world you don't.
he wants to place bets. I bet Carius can do it.
But that's a little off topic. That was just
If we have time,
Exactly.
teach you.
But first, we need to speak to the dragons. We need to find out what they want, why they've suddenly changed their mind, and then get them what they want. So,
Precisely.
do you know anyone capable of this? I believe the spell is called Sending in town.
In town, not here. Gadia, maybe. There are wizards and sorcerers in there who might be able to accomplish such a spell.
As it would be good to get in contact with our blue dragon asset. It was Llewellyn's idea. That way we can see how close they are to finding this other home for them. If we have that, then that's a big bargaining chip.
Well, I could probably find out if they've found it. I just wouldn't be able to get a message across to them.
Yes, and even if you find out they found it, you won't know where that is.
Exactly.
Narrowly might be able to help you. And she speaks up. Says, yeah, I have a list of contacts that we might be able to set you up with. A lot of sorcerers, wizards. There's plenty of casters. I'm confident you'll find someone who can cast that certain spell.
Excellent. That is a good first step. You can provide that list, but either way, we're going to need to go speak to the dragons before we go to Gage or anything like that. Unless
Marzook, that's his name. Aurelia sort of like has this aha moment. It says, Marzook, he owns a bazaar in Gaidia. There is a kind of magical shop of sorts. He sells all kinds of wares, but he's a powerful gnome wizard from what I recall. He might be able to help you.
I look at him and I'm like, and how would you know this, little brother?
Oh, that was narrowly who says this.
Oh, it sounded like I swear he said something.
Sorry, yeah. No. Narrowly says, yeah, no, we've definitely done business with him before.
Okay, well that's good.
A gnome wizard, how bizarre.
Listen here, I'm the one.
Where does that
But right. So I look on the map and I'm guessing, has he marked like where the dragons are most likely to be? Like,
yes,
we know they're in the canyon, but
he points out a canyon through here. It's a bit of a perilous path, but I'm sure you guys can overcome the dangers. Once there, though, the biggest threat will be the dragons themselves. They are fiercely territorial. If they see you, you'll need to either let them know that you're not a threat, because they might even just attack you on sight. Especially if it's that little upstart.
Yeah.
He's always looking for a fight.
Wish I knew a dragonborn at this point. A blue one would be helpful.
So when we're ready, we head off to our potential certain deaths. Speak to some dragons and find out what they want.
And once we know what they want, we then probably head to Gadia.
In fact,
and once at Gadia, we gather up what resources we can and bargain with these dragons properly.
We're going to empty the coffers here. You will need to be in their goodwill even before negotiations begin.
True. Down payment.
Practically, yes. Exactly. A down payment. You're practically buying an audience.
Well, how much do you think we need? I mean, I brought
as much as we can physically muster.
I mean, that's originally why we wanted to win the race, right?
I just sort of looked to Llewellyn and then looked back to my dad to see his reaction.
A race?
Yes, we've heard rumors of a race with a large prize payout, which we were considering. Well, in probably Kashan's case, considering definitely winning, because Honestly, I've never seen anything move quite as fast as him.
Hmm.
The prize money's supposed to be 10,000 gold, I believe.
10,000. What kind of? This isn't an official race, is it?
I just sort of,
You should be wary of such high promises.
I sort of glance across at Aurelius to see his reaction to this conversation because I wasn't going to bring this up in public.
You seem to be just whistling to yourself.
Well,
That's a lot.
yeah,
Almost too much. Too
Yeah.
good to be true.
well, that's the thing. If we know that if the gold we have isn't enough, that's sort of a backup plan to gain some gold quick. It's dangerous, but we're negotiating with dragons, so I think the danger of a race is fairly minor.
If the prize is that high, the competition will be just as fierce.
And so I guess
Well,
Aurelius is
I
going to
did-
have to be on his top game.
I did run into some gnolls who looked like they were preparing for it. They didn't put up much of a fight.
Did they make it in to the race? Did they actually qualify?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Hence why they're out of the race.
Yeah.
The poor Knowles.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
Carrots is just like, but yes,
So
yes.
it's up to you what you want to do as a party. You can do the race first, or you can go seek out the dragons first.
I think
That's a
we-
decision for you guys.
Yeah.
I think we need to seek out the dragons so
Yeah.
that
because they may not want gold.
yeah, they might not want gold, but with the and we need to know what they want so that we can potentially go and purchase it.
With
Mhm.
the money we
Steal
win.
it or whatever. So we need to know before, otherwise the race would be pointless. If it's not something that can be bought with gold, the gold is useless to us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
if anything, if Aurelius goes through the race and he wins, and gold is not what the dragons want, then at least the party has some spending money.
Why are you bringing me into this?
Because you're the one who's going to be racing.
I just,
Eric turns and says,
I'm just sort of like, we weren't meant to. I have no idea what you mean, Kashan.
Because I was
Why-
the one who participated within the race, and if anything, I think he's going to be perfect for the job. I mean, like, we had a little foot race on the way over to to home once we went and
How
found you
did-
just doing your own thing.
You
I
were
think it'd
so
be perfect for
insistent
it.
on Aurelius racing as well, though.
I'm going to roll an insight check for Erica.
Me, I'm insistent on him racing, but I wasn't planning
Oh!
to.
How on earth did you find out about this race in the first place? You make it sound as if Aurelius was wound up in this. My son would never.
I just sort of look at Aurelius and like, I tried, I really did, but apparently my friends can't keep their mouth shut.
He looks over to
I'm
Kashan.
just
Kashan has
saying.
a smug look.
I'm just like,
Oh, you bastard.
I'm just sat here like I had this conversation with Ericos about obviously letting his kids do what he wanted. He was gonna let Aurelius follow his heart, and now I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
see how this pans out.
Oh,
yeah,
my God.
so you know,
Llewellyn has a smug look as well.
whilst you were captured,
Oh, my God. Alright.
I went to find Aurelius and found him participating in the race.
Alright.
Which he did
What?
very well until we absolutely
Which he
destroyed.
would have absolutely destroyed the race and won easily without any harm coming to him.
1 to
Apart from
10.
that, me and Kashan got involved.
I'm gonna say actually 11 to 20. He's super proud and he heeds Irina's advice in letting his sons and daughters leave the nest. And on a 1 to 10, he flips the table. He flips the
with advantage because we kind of bigged him up a bit.
The whole table.
Yes,
What
there
did
is
you
a
do?
gust of wind that
Hold on,
What is
flips
under
the
the
table
table?
lengthways.
yeah, lengthways, yeah.
Well,
There's a-
Carrot sort of watches this and goes, well, there goes the ceiling again.
Yeah, you see it less flip and more like lift up and then slide through the door and smash the doors at the open. And he says, "Have all of you got some sort of secret that you're not telling me? Are all of you like running off? Lahiri, not you as well. Don't tell me you've been running into the desert and fighting some sort of monsters. Why has no one told me about this? I'm not supposed to keep secrets."
Well, I've not been here for 3 years. Does that count as a reason?
Silence. I swear.
I
this
used to
family
be a
can't
thief.
You're worse than the storm itself. Can't keep control over any of you.
What did we talk about earlier?
Shh, Irina, not the time.
It is the time. This
This
is
is
exactly why they
the time.
kept secrets. This
That's
is why
what
they
he said.
kept secrets, because they were afraid of this temper.
Oh no.
Dashley says, I've been sneaking a bit more sugar into people's dinner. That's not as extreme as the others.
I mean,
Narrowly says, well, if we're, yeah. She says, look, well, I've been playing everything by the books, you know me, but I will admit, I'm kind of sick and tired of it.
Can I
If
insight
we're being
check
all,
that?
if we're being all open and honest,
Yeah.
I'm super stressed half the time, running this business, negotiating with all these traders. I don't think I'm cut out for it. And
I decide to try to break into this conversation. You know what, Dad? I've got something I want to show you, which I think you may either enjoy or you'll hate me. So, see how you feel.
yeah, go ahead.
That's what I'm going to say to him.
Oh, okay. He says, "What? What now?"
I'd like you to come and see my ship.
Damn it!
No, not the ship.
Would you like me to get it tuned, Captain?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. But don't bring it out of the clouds.
Why are we doing
Very
this,
well.
Carius?
Well, I just sort of look at Lavelle and be like, well, everyone's being open because some people couldn't keep their mouths shut. So,
You did
might
tell
as
me.
well be as open as I can.
You haven't
Um,
even told him you've died yet.
I was just about to say that as a distraction away from the airship.
Also, if you want other secrets, I've technically died once whilst I've been away, but I'm back. I'm good.
I brought him back. Hi. And this isn't my hand, this is my hook, by the way. So I'm just...
Riley says, a ship sounds like a great distraction for you right now, husband. Why don't you go see the fruits of the Kiasta's labor, and perhaps a bit of air will actually help you, I think.
Yeah, air's the right word.
But could you give me like an hour or so?
We shouldn't need to take it anywhere. But go on,
Okay,
follow me.
Says,
Do you want to
Fine.
go for a walk? Let's go for a walk. I'm taking
walk.
Andy and running out the door. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm going to leave you guys to it, and I'm going to pop into my mansion instead.
Oh, in fact,
I
if you
just sort
don't,
of
if you don't need to move it anywhere, then I would also like to disappear off into the town and
Yeah.
or city. City?
town. I just sort of call over to Brizze just before I leave. Oh, and if you get a chance any point, Brizze, you should have a word with Andy. She might have something to talk to you about, a big scoop possibly.
Ooh,
Would
sounds
any,
good. I'm in.
would
Uh,
any, would any,
Ericos floats forward, arms like aloft, and you see crackling lightning in them as he kind of like literally hovers over the table and through the wall. It's a wall
Right.
now because the
Right.
doors have been bust off their hinges.
Right, let me show you my ship, and I start flying upwards on my glaive.
I invite any of them that are still here if they want to come and see an extra dimensional space.
Simp.
Everyone just kind of blinks and looks at you like, and then finally Didani speaks. I was like, "That sounds fun. I'm in. Yay!"
Oh god, she's gonna barrage all the snugs with questions.
Oh
Have
my
you
god.
ever seen a wintry forest over this end?
Why do you have that many eyes? Why are your arms so long?
Erica
Why is your
tries
head
to.
hurt?
Oh my God.
Why do you
Oh.
smell weird?
I take any of them that would like to into the mansion.
Ericus literally lifts himself off the ground and flies off into the air behind you, Carius.
I fly him to the ship.
He is in marvel as you show him this mastercraft piece of work. He says, "Hmm, no mortal hands could have crafted wood like this."
We had help from some elves and some gnomes, and they had strong ties to the astral sea.
They shaped the wood
Hmm.
with magic. But wait, how does it fly?
Um,
God.
I should've come with.
I lead him down to the crystal chamber and be like, I'm not 100% sure how it works, and Kashan sort of has that sort of link because he's sort of technically the leader of the elves and gnomes now, I think. But essentially, you if you've got like the right sort of stuff, you can attune to this crystal array, and this crystal array pumps out like little bits of vapor, which allow the ship to
Sounds
fly.
magical, Carius.
Yes, that was kind of the thing.
Magic.
Mhm.
Steer a ship.
Mhm.
At this point,
Technically,
you
it
want me?
doesn't steer the ship.
Technically, I still steer the ship. It still uses the sails and stuff. But I will say that I realize this might not be what you want to hear, but the concept of not using magic to steer a ship only seems to exist on the Clawed Coast. Other worshippers of Ryla seem to think that using the divine powers given to them by Ryla to sail the ship is
Are you saying our ways are archaic?
possible. I'm
Are
not
you
saying
saying that they've invented a new testament?
yes.
He looks like he's about to sort of blow up again and flip a table, but he doesn't, and he lets out a deep sigh instead.
So, the main reason I wanted to bring you up here is to sort of tell you that you're not alone in that sort of thing. When I was there, I was worried as well. But I tried to, and I did what I could to fit in. But I felt bad about it. But over time, it felt right to do so. It felt like maybe I had like the power flowed through me better if I was able to do this. In their minds, to deny their ability to control the waves and the wind is to help them, is to deny the gifts that Ryla granted them, and thus to deny Ryla herself. And
Come to question everything I've known in these past couple of weeks.
you're not the only one. As I said, I've almost died multiple times since I left. I've died once. It's not.
You're telling the truth when you say that? You mean
Yes,
you actually died?
yes. If it wasn't for Llewellyn bringing
And
my
how-
soul back, I would not be here. But I believe the reason I'm here, even if it was via Llewellyn's hand, it is still Ryla's will. She blew my ship in this direction so that I could come back and help with this situation and save everyone. I feel like if Ryla didn't want us to stop this, she wouldn't have allowed me to come back. She wouldn't have allowed me to get here in order
Roll
to
me,
even have a chance.
roll me a persuasion check with advantage.
Yay. And I forget it's shift for advantage.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. Shift.
I'm good at this one. 19's not bad.
19. He says, I feel I too would have died that day had I not steered the ship myself with the power that I've been gifted. It felt like the sea fought back still. It felt like I was using Ryla's power against her. But I'm still here. And you're still here. So we haven't been struck down yet.
Nope. No lightning strikes yet.
What did you experience when you died? And he takes a step closer to you. What did you see?
I consider this, and from what I remember, I saw like a large tidal wave, but it was frozen.
Yeah, not frozen from cold, but like frozen in time.
Yes. It was almost like there was a large wave that was about to wash me away, but then something held it back. It was like it was frozen in time, almost like it was saying it wasn't time for my soul to be washed away to return to the oceans, but that there was still more I needed to do.
Did you see Riley? Or do you believe that wave represented her?
Was there any, other than it being a wave, was there anything about the wave that would...
There was, yeah. In the description, I mentioned that there were great beasts of the sea, whales, and like there'd have been like orcas, dolphins, all kinds of sea creatures, octopus. It wasn't just all blue; it was like filled with seaweed shells. It was almost like it was like a wave of everything in the ocean. Like it wasn't just a physical wave; it was like the ocean itself.
The wave was not just a mere tidal wave. It was almost as if particularly considering where we were, it was almost as if the entire ocean had risen up. It was filled with beasts, seaweed, everything, even things from the depths that I've only heard rumors of. I mean, there was this absolutely massive squid in there, and
Then sounds as close to Ryla's imagery as I can imagine. Though she stopped. She didn't.
That is how I feel, in my heart at least.
Something that we need to figure out ourselves together. He kind of puts his hand on your shoulder. Zerilius as well.
Exactly.
We need to figure out why we've been gifted this power. What we're meant to be doing with it.
Exactly. We go by what we've been told in the past, what our ancestors have told us, what has been passed down in the teachings, but the power we have seems more than that. It seems like we've been given this power for more than just to help the crops grow, or to, in the case of those of the islands, to sail their ships. There's got to be something. But I think between the three of us, we will be able to figure this out. But first, we have the storm to deal with.
Indeed. And I think that little conversation kind of really emphasizes the dichotomy that is a cleric sorcerer combo. You've been gifted this power, you're not sure how to use it or whether it's against the will of a god. And it's something that, yeah, you will need to figure out as your character kind of develops and such. For the most part, though, he doesn't seem to like blow a fuse when he sees like the fact that it's all magical and stuff. He seems to more think inwards and question back to that day when he used his own powers. But after you've said like it's time to head back, he says, one moment, and just as you're kind of like leaving the deck, you turn around to like wonder what he's asking, and you turn around into his open arms, and he hugs you, he embraces you.
I hug him back, surprised, possibly considering this would probably be the first time in absolutely years, even before he left. He probably has a few tears in his eyes as he hugs back.
I'm glad you're still alive, son.
Well, you sent me to the right place. I've at least become a bit more disciplined.
I have a great debt to your friends.
Well,
He kind of like comes away from the hug, realizing it's getting a bit emotional for him as well, and says,
yeah,
let's fight through this. Let's survive together.
yes. And then once we've done that, we can learn more. It might mean me leaving again to continue to explore and learn more in the world. I owe my friends at least that, but I don't think we will find all the answers in the Clawed Coast.
Very well. With that, you guys begin to head back. And just before we start to wrap up, Andy, did you want to talk to Briseis about anything? Or do you want to save that for next time? That's up to you.
I will save that for next time. To be honest, I'm getting very tired now, so...
No worries. That's okay. Just giving you the
time
option.
to think up questions
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, because she seems like she's got all these headlines and newspapers in the other room that might have some bearing, but if not, then at least you've got a clue. Okay, in that case, before we do wrap up, is there anything else anyone else wants to do? Llewellyn, you want to show your dimensional space off?
Yeah.
Or were you going to do it?
Well,
Danny seems to be the only one interested.
I was offering it to everyone,
Okay.
and then at some point, obviously, she'd probably get distracted with all the snurgs. I wanted to, as I said, find myself in my room in the mansion to mull over things and what Irina spoke about. At my room.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, when she first came to the mansion, she did write everything she knew about the capital into a book, which is now in your library.
Yeah, I know.
So...
I've been asking Chris to tell me stuff about it, and he's been like, "Oh, you just know it."
Wait, which stuff specifically? The capital city?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the funny thing is about that is a lot of it, I don't want to say it's irrelevant, but the capital city is, for all intents and purposes, according to Irina, like a shattered realm now. And it's even to the point where people haven't called it the capital city in over a decade. It's come to be known as the Shattered City.
Yeah, it's just all the discussion with it about his father. Obviously, Estelia's there. That's where Kavar was brought, and just gone to that room to.
Okay, well, that's something that maybe even Irina, you could talk to them about. Although, if your memories are in the book, correct, then you can potentially just read Irina's backstory from it.
True.
Is that right? Irina, did you pour all
It's
of your...
literally everything that she remembers in as
Okay.
much chronological order as she can remember.
Excellent. All right. Starting all the way back.
Obviously, it's essentially a copy of her journal, but only the stuff that's relevant to the situation in the capital.
Okay. Right. Gotcha. So not just your time in the library, but...
No.
Okay. All right. Cool. I will, in that case, I'll send you some more notes on that when we've got some downtime. Otherwise, I think it's a good place to wrap it up. But before we do, we'll say that you guys are basically making your prevent spells or anything. Attuned to items, unattuned to items, let me know, because the next session I think will begin that venture and finally have this audience with the storm of dragons.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. That's going to be interesting and nerve-wracking because you're apparently talking to some rather old blue dragons.
Yeah. Just a quick one, Chris, just before
Yep.
we wrap up. During the time it took to fly over here, Irina and I think Sean to some extent and Takla were trying to teach Carius Draconic. Would I have picked that up yet, do you think?
A whole language?
Well,
Or
I
at
was
least
teaching you sort of like the etiquette and things like that.
Yeah. I would say you've got the manners and etiquette down, but not the language.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you know some of their customs, you know a lot about dragons as well, because that was information in the book about their culture, about their desires, and their dislikes. Yeah, all of that kind of stuff. But in fact, I will give you a big listing of information about blue dragons when the time comes. But you will also see that for yourselves when you come to meet them. So
Till then, you have translators.
yeah, and you also know that, because this is also part of that information, is that dragons are powerful enough to have learned the common tongue.
Yeah.
They can turn and transform into humanoids as well, at least older ones.
It's just the idea, speaking to them in their language seemed
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah, but
What you're saying is we can trap them in the chessboard.
Lavella, no.
When they turn into humanoid form, just trap them in.
I mean, if you manage to get enough of them to do so, that's actually a really weird way of dealing with it. But I would imagine dragons are incredibly good at chess. They're very smart.
Dragon
It's
chess.
dragon. It was named after them.
Yeah.
All
Wouldn't
right.
be trapped for long.
Well, with that, then we're going to sign off here. But thanks for watching. And if you want to tune in on Sunday, we also have Baba Yaga's Dancing Hut. And then on Monday with Curse Breakers and Tomb of Annihilation, the Last Resort Company. Thank you all very much. Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.